Hello, and welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. This is episode 57, and what's happening in our store this week. So today, Jay is with me,
Hey.
and I'm Mikey, and this is nice. This is my favorite type of podcast, Jay, where it's just you and I, just the guys kind of podcast.
The guys hanging out. And what's amazing is that,
We get our little bromance going on. We just talk about trash we sell.
That's right. And I'm in Amsterdam and you're in the Southwest America. So look at that. Talking about trash.
Yeah.
Global.
We got some real distance. So Jay, you've been in Amsterdam, and what's your eBay experience been out there now that you've been there for a few weeks now? How long have you been out there?
So our trip was 6 weeks and we just ended the third week into our trip. So we're about halfway through. And as you said, we've kept our store open. We're very clear that things will not get shipped till November 1st. So, we've sold, I think, about 100 items so far. So we're making about $100 a day or so, $150 a day, which is lower than what we normally make. So not as much as we normally do. But people are buying. And I would say 1 in 10 or maybe 2 in 10, after they buy, we always send them a note just to make clear they aren't going to get it right away. And 1 in 10 people, they'll say, yep, that's too long. Give me my money back. And we do. And that's always depressing. That's just, you got to do it.
Have you noticed that as you've been there in Amsterdam a little longer and you're getting closer to your return, are sales increasing at all for you, like over last week or the week before?
Yeah, surprisingly, this week was probably our slowest week since we've been here. And I was going to ask you if you think the government shutdown in America has been affecting sales. It seems like it coincides with that, but it's hard to tell. If people are just kind of worried because they don't know what's happening, it's with the government.
I don't know if that's really affecting sales a whole lot. I have a feeling it is not. I've had one of my biggest weeks of sales this week.
Yep.
So that hasn't been the case for me. But I kind of think that 3-day weekends, I always have a little bit of strange eBay traffic around.
Right.
Like today's Sunday, we're in Columbus Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Expect a ton of sales to start tonight and to go right through Monday, Monday evening, even Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my usual kind of 3-day weekend experience, is that it really kicks up late in the weekend. And the whole week before is quiet, like people getting ready for vacation or doing other things.
Let's talk about a week of yours. It's been huge, but let's put a caveat out there. It's because of 2 high-priced items.
Yeah, so we had something I had mentioned in last week's What's Up in Your Store episode. I sold a head-mounted display that sold for like $3,000.
Right.
And I also this week got lucky with another sale, which was a Louis Vuitton wallet that sold for almost $1,500. So I had 2 pretty much tiny items that sold for a combined $4,500 in a single week.
Right.
And then on top of my weekly sales, it came out to like over $6 in a week, which was just like pretty unbelievable for us.
So even it's without those 2 big items, though, it was a pretty good week for you. I mean, you made like
$1,500 for us is a decent week. That's kind of it's just okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. When we had been listing some items, so I expected it to be kind of in that range. It was good enough.
Now,
but those 2 items really threw it over.
I was thinking this week on the podcast, on the blog, ebayscavengers.com, we would be posting our weekly numbers. We thought this would be a new thing where we would just kind of list some stats of our week, just so people could kind of see, like, the total numbers of items we sold, total sales, average price sold. And I was thinking maybe we start doing that each week so people could see kind of what kind of action we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm happy to post up my numbers for how many things moved and what the average price was and all that.
Yeah, so anyone that's hearing this, if you're interested, you can go to ebayscavengers.com. We'll start doing that every week, and go into the comments if there's information that we aren't putting up there that it should be interested in. And I'd even be interested if other people just wanted to copy it and put in the comments the kind of numbers that they're doing. That's always interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that would help people too. If you see that like other people are doing thousands of dollars a week, like I think it's a good motivation. And I was going to say, when I saw these 2 big items, this head mount display and the wallet, it immediately made me depressed of all
Jesus
things,
Christ.
because I was like, because mostly I'm selling $10, $20, $30 items.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, two tiny items
Yeah.
just like decimated how much I make from the usual things.
I know.
And it's like, where can I get some better merchandise?
Yeah.
Because it's killing me how much time I spend listing, some smelly wool sweater.
As soon as you hit and sell something for like over $500, yeah, it's just like, I can't believe, how many $20 and $30 items does it take for me to make $500 or $1,000? It's But the problem is, though, is that it's very hard to find those kind of items. We run across them every so often, but it's a rare one.
I agree with you; they are hard to find. But part of it's my location. It's hard to find because I don't live in like a crazy wealthy city that's just hemorrhaging great stuff. And I think you kind of have that too. You have to travel a little bit to get to that.
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with that. I think even if you lived in it's New York or it's DC or Seattle or something, I just think that people aren't throwing away something that's worth $1,000 for no money at all. Because that's the thing that the two of us have sold. I mean, like those things that you sold recently, like that a wallet. I mean, didn't you guys buy it for like $20 or something? I mean, that's
we paid $25.
It's most people aren't going to throw out $1,000 a wallet for $20. That's rare, I think, wherever you are.
Yeah, but I would have paid $50 or $100 for it.
Yeah,
too.
So. I mean, like I know this guy who lives in the town next to us, and him and his wife have an eBay store. He sells a lot of really cool stuff, but I see him at the auctions, and he pays a lot of money for the stuff he sells. So he may sell something for $300, but he may pay $175 for that thing. That's why I think the person who's buying $30, who sells a $30 item and pays, 5 cents for it, I think that's a better model. I don't know if it's really that easy to do a living where you're paying $20 and selling something for $1,000. I think that's a rare commodity.
Yeah, that is a little rare. That kind of markup. But like 100 to 1,000, I think, is possible.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, okay. A little more likely. I mean, still, we're just talking 10 times there. That's not so different than the $3 to $30.
But I would love to spend $1,000 a month and then make $10,000 off of 10 things. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that. I mean, that's a different kind of scavenger, and that's an interesting. It's an interesting thing.
Well, that's the scavenger I aspire to be, because I'd much rather list 10 items a month than 150 items a month. Well, I was going to point out that it's a little bit stressful selling high dollar items, because you immediately get into this world of insurance and extreme tracking and extreme shipping. So I want you to finish your thoughts on this, but I want to talk about some shipping issues I've had with these big items.
Go for it, yeah, because I think that's a good question is, like when we sell high dollar items, then the question is like people are going to hold us accountable if something goes wrong.
So with the head mount display, it was a $3,000 item and I was shipping it to Israel. So how do you want to ship it? So I had the buyer pay for express mail. And of course, eBay won't let me print that express mail to Israel. So I had to go out somewhere else and get insurance somewhere else and get it covered. And immediately U.S. Customs jumped right on the package. Wow. So it shipped out. I had it sent via USPS Express Mail. So it should have been in Israel within 3 days.
Wow.
Customs on our side blocked it. So it went into this like little customs hole for 3 to 4 days. And I had to call the post office, which was probably about 40 minutes of being on hold.
Right.
Just to see what's going on. I mean, I sent this express mail. Why is it being held up? And I think there's a couple of things. One, I declared the item value as it is. So that kind of sets a flag, right? When you're sending this little box that's worth $3,000. And I sent an express mail, which I think might be kind of a flag for them. They see someone's paying, basically $100 in shipping and insurance. I think they're like, well, I wonder what's in this box.
Yeah. But I mean, did it get stopped here in America or in Israel?
It was U.S. It was our customs in the United States. Yeah. So So I called the post office because I didn't see any information beyond that. And of course, the post office did have a little bit more information. And they told me that, oh, it's cleared customs. It's moving on. It's going to be in Israel by like Tuesday or something. So it's going to take pretty much a full week to get there, despite me paying for a lot of extra services to get it there faster. So that's kind of a bummer when you put a lot of money into shipping and it doesn't turn out to be anywhere near your expectation of the delivery time.
Yeah, it is strange. You would think like if you pay the express mail, which is extremely expensive, that they would have some kind of like express way to get through a customs.
Yeah, and I even asked like maybe I can get a partial refund because I paid for for speed,
right,
and I'm not getting it. And they said for certain countries that would be the case. So Israel didn't qualify, but some countries the post office will give you some money back. So I think maybe in the case of Australia, they'll actually refund you a little bit if the package misses their delivery time.
Now that's been about a week now. So is the person happy? Did they get the item? And they're all...
It's a little on a week. I think it sold 7 days ago on a weekend and stuff like that. So they don't have it yet.
Gotcha.
And so it's not.
Are they angry?
It's not completed.
Cool about it?
No, they've been great. The thing is, and this is always the case with eBay, just be immediate on your response to the customer's inquiry. So I've had a dialogue with them. We've exchanged just a little, one-liner sentences, and I've been giving them updates from when I called the post office and what they said and when it should be there and things like that. So I'm sure they're perfectly happy with the customer service that I'm offering.
Well, I guess if we were to sell $10,000 items every a month, then I would be willing to put that kind of effort into it because that definitely is a lot more work than selling a $30 item. So
yeah, well, I feel like I also learned my lesson. So the next item that went out was the $1,500 Louis Vuitton wallet, and that was going to Australia. So I just sent that priority mail to insurance on it, and just printed standard through eBay.
Yep.
And I'm not really worried about it at all. I'm not going to do express mail for it, and it's fine. It's the shipping was way less. So Jay, I wanted to ask you about Amsterdam.
Yep.
You've been checking out the flea market. I'm curious, like what was it like, this huge flea market you went to? Sure.
So I don't know if we've done an update, but what it's been so far is that the first week we were here, we hit all the thrift stores. We, it went online. Ryan speaks a bit of Dutch, and we figured out the word for a thrift store was. And really, here in Amsterdam, they were all like Goodwills. Mostly crappy stuff, a couple cool things, but priced pretty high. And really, it's nothing we were interested in. The only cool thing about that is, like we've said, is that it gets us out. It gets us going down weird streets, weird parts of town that we would never go to. We'll like go to this thrift store, then we'll have lunch in some place. It's just great. We love doing it. I mean, that's what Scavengers is about. But this past weekend, they had the biggest flea market in Holland. It's once a month here in Amsterdam, and it's in these two big industrial warehouses that I guess it used to be like where they made like cars or something. I'm not sure. There's all this big equipment that's rusting, and now it's just empty, and people put out tables, and it's just like your traditional flea markets. And it was great. There's a lot of cool stuff, and it was 2 days. So the first day were pretty good deals. The second day we got some really even better deals because people are hungry to dump their stuff. A lot of the stuff we're finding is cool are those old tiles. I don't know if you've imagined them. There's these old like Dutch tiles with like scenes of everyday life. The ones we're getting probably aren't that old. They're probably, it's 50 years old or something. But we're getting them for like $1 a piece. So, because they're pretty common here, but they're pretty rare from America. So we're hoping that will be a good upsell.
What kind of things do the tiles have on them? They're like Dutch farming scenes?
Yeah, it's like, it was this thing back in the old days in like the 1600s. They would just like make these tiles and put a guy laying bricks or someone milking a cow or, someone walking down the street. They're actually kind of cool. And they're real simple. They're hand painted.
Is there a name for this type of tile?
It's a Delft tile. It's from the name of the town where they're made. And Ryan actually knows a little bit more about the history than I do. I just learned what to look for. Yeah, and so we we were just walk around. I had my big backpack on, and we were just filling it with stuff. So I now know that if we were to live here full time, that we could make a living on eBay the same way we do in America. I think America has a lot more abundance and waste, but there's a lot of good stuff here too. You just have to dig into it.
Do you think you could make as much, like it would be as profitable, or it might not, or you'd have to adapt a little bit and you'd sell different things?
Yeah, why don't you ask me at the end of the month? So our friend, we're staying in our friend's apartment, and he's actually in America, but he comes back in a week. And when he comes back, I'm going to see if he can't help me find like estate sales. Since we don't speak the language, we don't really know what to look for. But I was asking some of the guys at the flea market, they would have tables full of cool stuff. And I'd be like, where do you get this stuff? And they just say from like personal sales, the same way in America, somebody dies and they sell off all their stuff. So I wonder where those sales happen, and that's where I'd like to go and find out.
Gotcha. So you've seen the thrift stores, you've been to the flea market, now you got to go find the estate sale.
And we've been trying to find actually somebody here who sells on eBay and do an interview with them. I've sent a couple emails, but I haven't found anyone in Amsterdam that sells on eBay yet. Because my question is do Europeans buy from a local Europeans on eBay? Like, is there a big business here? I'll find out.
Well, I'll be curious to see what if you can find it, what the estate sales of Amsterdam look like. That does sound fascinating. So I spent a lot of time this week on the phone between PayPal, eBay, and the post office. And it's kind of unlike me. I really don't like doing that, but I just learned to, put it on the background and wait for them to answer.
Yeah.
And I had all sorts of issues.
Right.
I had I have an international case that was opened against me.
Right.
Ryan and I had a little bit of dialogue about it this week. And that is, I shipped a camera in September. So we're talking, actually, it might have been in August. So I shipped a camera to France at the end of August, and right now it's mid-October, so it was a while back. The guy never got it. We had a really good exchange on a PayPal case he opened against me saying, hey, I didn't receive this. And I just said, hey, I'm sorry. You've been very patient. Here's the tracking number. I see it made it to France, but there's no more updates. And PayPal, when I called them, said, we will cover this case. We will put you under our seller protection, even though this person hasn't received the item.
Right.
And Ryan kind of wrote in saying, you know what, they're probably not going to side for you because in this case, you don't have a delivered message at the bottom of the tracking.
Right.
So it's kind of odd when you call PayPal and they say they'll do one thing, but it might not actually be that way. So I thought that was a little strange. And I've kind of noticed that from eBay too this week. I called in eBay because we had a disaster with our subtitle fees.
Right.
And that is, Ryan pointed out that several of our listings had subtitles.
Right.
It turned out that we had up to 150 leading listings that had the word subtitle in there, but there was nothing else subtitle.
Right.
So I called eBay and they were all about giving me a refund, but it's been over a week. I've called them 3 times. I have 2 reference numbers, which is like eBay cases open against them.
Right.
And I haven't got a refund yet, or a credit. So it's been kind of difficult working with both of them. And I'm disappointed because they're so responsive when you call them, but they're not actually getting this done.
So what do they say? Are they more just like understanding, but they don't really do anything? I mean, do they?
Right. So at this point, they've established the amount they'll refund me, which is about $425. Which is a little off because I wrote a script that would calculate how many were supposed to be. It was $436, but whatever. I'll take $425.
Right.
And they agreed to that amount, and then they say we have to get it approved by a manager or someone a little higher up. And each time I call, they're like, well, we sent a personal note to the manager, and they should approve it in 24 hours, and it's just not happening. So I've called back several times. They never call me back, and it's kind of weird to have these customer support issues with eBay because they really do understand what's going on, but they don't have the approval necessary to give you this kind of credit. So
I think the two of us, both agree that I always have pretty positive experiences with eBay and PayPal. Like, they seem very fair. But I think in these kind of cases, it's just like that's just how like any big corporation is. It's like they have to wait for, Stevens down the hall, who's like the manager. It takes him 2 weeks to get to anything because it's just like the slow pace of of some corporation. That's, to me, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I feel like these two issues though are kind of being missed by them.
Really?
Like they're not following up to the point where a credit would actually happen. It's not like it's just I have to wait for it. It's like it's not actually getting approved. And the same with siding for me in the case of the camera that never made it to the French customer. I feel like they told me they would cover me, but the reality is they won't cover me.
Gotcha.
And they'll just pull the funds.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed with this customer service on these two issues. And if they don't side for me in either case, what I'll end up doing is being like, hey, I run a show. Don't make me blog this. And I'll get the money out of them. And that's really what I end up doing, just being a blogger in general, is I threaten companies. And they come around pretty fast. So.
Well,
and it's at that point, it's not going through customer support. I could contact their PR departments.
Well, just don't do it's what the guy down the street from me did. I think I told Itchy about it. He said like he had a bad experience where someone opened up a case against him. He sent the item, the person didn't get it. eBay went against him, so he just like deleted his store to prove a point. He's like, I'm just going to delete my store.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. No, and I really not that I do like eBay and PayPal both, and I'm glad their customer support works as well as it does.
Yeah, I tease.
Don't push me.
Yeah, don't push you. Cool. Well, sounds like a pretty good week for both of us. So
yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. This is episode 57, eBay Scavengers, what's happening in your store this week. And episode 58 is coming right up. And Jay, why don't you tell them about episode 58?
Right. So in this next episode, we, on the sidebar of ebayscavengers.com, we have like a little entry where you can send us a note suggesting a topic for a show. And we unfortunately did not put a notification on there when anyone put something on there. So we realized the past 2 months, people have been writing in there and we had not been getting them. So this next episode, we are going to actually answer every question and comment that people wrote in that field to catch up. And now from now on, we'll be able to be on top of that.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Cool. See you, Mikey.